All right, so we are here to do one thing. It is to make fun of Omega and talk about Star Wars.
As we do.
Episode
Bad
4.
Batch Bitch Fest.
Episode 4 through 8, we're going to be talking about because Kachun kept canceling our shows, so we had to do this like this. Or it was the tornadoes in my area. It's one or the other. I can't remember.
I think what's more likely. I think the tornado.
All right, so episode 4. Let's kick it off. I want to say overall, I think I don't want to say they step up the writing, but I feel like you can see where there's like an ending. So I feel like they're doing a lot more. I don't want to say adult stuff, but I just feel like feels more like Clone Wars than babysit the girl thing. And so I have been enjoying it to a certain extent because I do feel like it's giving me more like old school Clone Wars vibes than let's just go have fun with Omega in space. Like it's giving me a different vibe. So the first episode, I'm going to be honest, I must have just forgot what last season was because I got excited when I saw Omega like in a dire situation. I was like, wait a minute. And I had to like really think about it for a second and realize, oh, okay. All right. So what do you guys think about episode 4?
It was a little annoying for me.
All right. Get out there. Tell us about it.
It was called A Different Approach. And all of a sudden, Omega's this card shark. And then, like, blatantly pulling her wallet out in the street, you know, everyone can see her and her creature with money that she just won, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I did like that Crosshair showed restraint. That was kind of a real telling point for his character changing a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Coming more to the light side.
I would say the part that I did like is I feel like they're using Omega a little bit better this season because she was like, no, we must be nice to everybody. And Crosshair's like, have you lost your mind? I could like kill them all and we could be out of here. And then she's like, no. And then at the end, she kind of has to say, okay, fine, I give up. Let's do it your way. And it was like, I don't think they would have done that a few seasons ago. They would have forced it to show you that Omega's way was the best way. And in this situation, no, like this is not, and I do appreciate that. I do feel like, okay, that makes more like Omega so far this season has been used way better to me than she has been in the past.
And it was her way to begin. And he was like, the restraint was there, you know, really, can I do my thing now?
What is weird though is that obviously you have writers at Disney who are like 18 and they don't really know how the world works and they don't remember how Star Wars works. So what they do is they go, well, who are some bad guys that I know existed in the past? And we're just going to do characters of that because if you go by what Disney has wrote about, we talked about this before, right? Of the Empire, there's no way the Empire should have lasted 2 months, no longer 20 years, because they're full of the most incompetent, corrupt people that I've ever seen in my life, just blatantly out in the open corrupt. And there's no way, like you can't have that. The situation that they presented themselves would have been very strict, very serious, kind of more like Ahsoka did, right? Where people are stunned that there's something shady going on in the background because it was like the New Republic. But it needs to be more like that. And the Empire is just like, well, of course everybody's out in the open, just shady and doing all kinds of deals. No, because every cent would have been accounted for because of the military situation they were in. You couldn't have had people out in the open. Were people shady? Absolutely. Were people probably skimming from the top? Sure. But blatantly out in the open? I don't know about that. I think the Emperor would have had something to say. If your boss was either a guy that looked like a robot who chokes you from across space or the Emperor who shoots lightning out of his fingertips, whether you realize it or not, there's still got to be rumors out there that he can. You're just going to be skimming from the top from the local poker game? Like, I don't know about that. That just seems a little bit dangerous.
That's true. Well, they haven't seen him and they haven't been affected by him, so they figure they're a bit out of reach.
Yeah, it could be if they're that far out. That could be the case. Mm-hmm. They didn't say why they had all those animals though, which I knew as soon as we saw those animals, I was like, "Oh, Omega's going to release them 100%."
Oh, you knew it. I knew right away too. Oh, it's gonna be free them all.
No, we can't leave. We have to free the murderous animals who wanted to murder everybody but her. They knew.
none of which are native to this planet. They will eat and consume the wildlife,
Yeah.
and they will disturb the
Yep.
natural order.
Yeah.
She just basically made that planet Australia.
Yeah, the spotted owl is now gone because of how she released the non-native animals. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Other than, I mean, that was the episode that I started rolling my eyes really hard on because I was like, now we found out that Omega's also, like you said, a car shock. She can't do nothing wrong. Everything she does, she's amazing at. So I was kind of like, oh, here we go. But luckily, to me, in the few episodes, they kind of redeemed themselves a bit.
What I thought was interesting, I thought was funny, was that she just won naturally. Like I thought the guy was gonna cheat, and he wouldn't get caught, and then she'd be like, "How'd you win?" And then you know, but yeah, middle of the road.
Yeah,
So, fine
it
episode.
was the lowest score of the 5 episodes for me.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yeah, I would say so too. It was about average. It kind of like get you from point A to B. How do you get them from the crash landing to leaving from there?
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to episode 5. Are we done with that one? Since that was the least.
I think so.
All right, episode 5. This is where I actually started taking notes because this is where it's like, okay. So the first one is, I'm about sick and tired of them making the Bad Batch. You're supposed to have all these. Okay, do any of them have special powers anymore? Because I feel like they don't. I feel like they're just normal guys now. Because the dog kept figuring out something was wrong, and the guy who can touch a planet and know where everyone is never figured out there was something going on.
It can't get worse because, like, in hindsight, watching the new episode where Fennec's like, well, you guys are your specialties. You're the demolition expert and you're the hunt tracker. And I'm like, if you watch what happened prior, maybe you would take back that statement.
Yes. And the dog kept eating and turned around and look. And they got this beast, which, by the way, did that dog not grow or shrink depending on what he needs to do? Because I swear to God, that dog was bigger in the previous episodes, and now he's the size of a schnauzer. Like, he's the size of a giant schnauzer. He's not a beast anymore. He's like a normal sized dog. Like, I thought that was weird. But yes, every time he turns around and starts looking, and everybody's like, "What you doing? Oh, you want more food? Huh? You're on a planet, you don't know anything." And the dog is like, "Oh, what's going on?" And our tracker guy, he has no idea what's happening.
As I said previously, the previous seasons, Echo has been the most useless character on the team because Tech was around. Now that Tech's gone, if Echo stuck around, Hunter is the most useless person in this.
And it's bad because I liked Hunter the most at one time because I thought that was really cool. But now it's like, you didn't know there was a 3-story worm running around outside. Like, you never sensed that in any. Okay.
Yeah. What blows me away about that is that fact that when they're doing the escape running around and he's underground and Crosser's up top, he can't tell where I can't tell where it is. I can't get a visual on it. And it's like,
you don't need a visual.
Touch the wall, right? You don't need a visual. Your character does. I will say, what I have enjoyed of the last season. What I enjoyed most about the last season carries over into this season, and it's Crosshair. I really like his character. I like what they've done now where he's kind of had this either mental block, physical, he thought first, where he can't quite, like, he's shaky, he can't get the sniping right. And that leads into, like, as well, he's come back into the fold, doesn't fit with everyone, doesn't want to open up, obviously. And then them going to this planet and, like, he sees all this horrid stuff that happened to him when he was there, which is what turned him from back going from the Empire. And he doesn't want to open up about it as his character. And then the scene with him like stacking the helmets quietly, and no one interrupt. Like, Hunter looks in and sees it and doesn't interrupt him. Like, I really enjoyed that.
I would say that reminds me of how, like, comic books, cartoons, and movies should be made. Honestly, we got to talk about PTSD. Got to see some horrible things. He made some bad decisions. And it's messed him up mentally. And that's perfect. That's how it used to be. Now it would be some dramatic, over-the-top nonsense, but that's how it used to be. He's got a handshake. He's hesitant. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. That's perfect. That's how you can have a conversation about, like, PTSD without making it like, an after-school special or, like, now comes across the screen. Just do a normal little conversation. So I did like that. I will say this. The episode...
connection.
Do what? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that connection that, it's to a time in the previous season that we can connect with because we've seen it.
Yeah.
And he finds the helmets of like Mayday and Hex and Veach, was it?
Veach, yeah.
Veach. Yeah. So we can kind of identify.
So on here, really quick, I have the episode before this when they were kind of on the docks when they first landed or whatever. They actually showed their breath and that it was cold. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I thought that was neat when I first saw it, and that's why it stuck in my head. I was like, oh, you can see their breath when they were talking. However, they're on a frozen planet, and I couldn't figure out at first if they were on a frozen planet or if it was white sand because there was no breath. No one was talking about being cold on this frozen planet until they said, oh, we found a weak point in the ice, and I actually literally paused the show and just went like this. Because I was like, so you couldn't put the breath in for this one when they're on a frozen planet, but we did in the other one. Like, I don't understand that. So that annoyed me. Also, there apparently were sensors at this base that they, at least one of them had spent some time in. We find out the sensors are there to stop the giant planet-killing worm from eating everybody. And while he was there, no one on the base mentioned this to him. Hey, did you know this planet's got worms that will eat everybody here? And that never came up at like the chow line. It never came up when we're hanging out, watching books or watching movies, reading books. No one ever mentioned the giant killer worms around. He was like, well, I don't know why they got sensors. I guess they just like sensors. And as soon as they turn them off, this monster, the monster comes rushing in there, which was a cool thing. But I was like, that was never mentioned once while he was there.
As a fun aside, not related to the episode directly, but that episode came out on the Wednesday, obviously. And the Friday is when Dune Part 2 came out at the same time with the sandworms, ice worms.
Yeah.
These are totally different. Those are ice worms. Don't do that. Don't act like Dune had any influence whatsoever on Star Wars.
But again, I would say I liked the stuff with Crosshair in the episode and with the old clones and all that. The worm was cool. Hunter annoyed me continually now. And Omega was there in the episode. She wasn't doing anything outrageous, which is nice.
And that's what I have right here. Why is it so much worse when she enters the scene? Because I was getting to see a lot of them discussing stuff. I don't trust that son of a gun. I was really enjoying it. Oh, then they'd have to go back to her, and I'm like, like it would totally take me out of the whole thing.
No. I remember the thing that pissed me off at the beginning of the episode.
Nice. Hunter, let's hear it.
Is my least. I do not like Hunter. He's my least favorite character. He has no backbone. Before they went to this planet, because he's like, Crosshair's like, I know this place. I know a place we can go for this information where we can hook the data bank up to Echo. It's very dangerous though, and all that. And he's like, okay, you Echo and Wrecker will stay here then. And Echo was like, or Echo, sorry, Wrecker and Omega will stay on the planet, and then we'll go over to that place. Echo, me, and Crosshair. And she's like, "No, we stay a team. I come with you guys." And say, "No, you're staying here. I do not want you getting in trouble or getting hurt." And then she's like, "No, I'm going." And then it just cuts, and they'll go together. And Hunter gets to say, "No, he doesn't have a backbone. He's a leader, no backbone."
Listen, tell me you don't have kids. Yeah, tell me you don't have kids without telling me what you just did right there. Let me tell you something. A parent will agree to almost anything.
You have the uncle. You have the big, broody uncle right there.
When those kids start harassing you, you almost give in to anything just to make the noise stop. Like you'll be like, "Fine, go get a piece of chocolate. I want the noise to stop." So I'll give him a pass on that one because she probably was like, "No. See, it's already annoying. Now think about that 100 times.
You know why? Hunter gives off the vibe, but he would smack her. He would beat her.
No, you definitely not that one. No. Oh yeah, you know what? He might.
Crosshair would intervened. So yeah, that pissed me off. Hunter, no backbone.
I wish I remember what Omega said because I wrote down Omega stating the obvious about the sensor beacons. She said something stupid about the sensor beacon. I wish I'd written it down, but I at least wrote that note down.
I also thought it was funny that they were like, you can't turn it on until we know for sure the worm is out of there. And they were just like running and just like talking backwards while they were like running. And I was like, that's across the planet. Wow. Did you compare having children to being under constant risk of torture? Yes, I did. 100%. That's what it is. And you know it. That's why you guys are on the FTK all day tour. Yes, it is. Because the kids know that they have that Like my kids know that the wife is the first what goes down, so they'll be in her ear, ba 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 ba, until she gives in. They know hit that one first.
Oh, I also wrote down, when did Omega become an electrician like Leia? Remember? Do you remember Leia?
To be fair, I will give that to her because Tech was showing her all the stuff, everything to do, every command, every order. So I'm sure she was like, "Here's how to hot wire a car."
Let me tell you something.
Like,
the fact that they even gave us a 5 seconds of explaining to why she knows how to do everything is so just monumental for Star Wars that I'm willing to give it a pass, because like they don't have to ever explain why she can do everything. So if they did it once, oh, I love it. Beautiful writing, chef's kiss, and the whole 9.5. All right, so episode 6. The first thing I have written here is, why can't Senator Singh wear a damn hoodie or something? Because he's in his like official garb while going on a clandestine meeting where nobody could know and they will die if they get caught. And he's in his full on regalia. He couldn't even put on like a hoodie or nothing. Couldn't put a blanket on him.
That's why he's a separatist, baby. He don't care.
I was like, oh my gosh, do you think that guy tracked you down? I wonder how he spotted you out of a crowd, because you're not even bothering putting on a blanket or anything. You just walking around like Senator Singh. I said that.
I loved it. The armor of that infiltrator was awesome.
Yeah, I will say this though. Now I'm 100% on the hashtag, what is the point of clone and stormtrooper armor, because they don't seem to do anything. Because at one point they choked out the stormtrooper. He went down in like 1 second. So they don't keep him from choking out. They don't keep him from getting gassed. They don't keep him getting shot. They don't keep him. I don't know what the point of the armor is other than look intimidating. That must be the only reason why.
Swamp water. You can't breathe in Louisiana bayou water.
And then I said later on, when we find we see all the clones that are there helping, I said, wow, I didn't see any other episodes, obviously. Wow, that is a lot of clones. There's no way this is going to end well. Because I was like, there is a lot of clones hanging out in the future. We only know of a couple that still make it. So I was like, this ain't going to end well.
The armor gets stains.
They always look clean. Yeah, except for the plot needs them to be dirty. Then they can get real dirty. Like the storm.
This is the episode I started to think. I started seeing like evidence that Ventress will be coming in. I mean, even if I hadn't known that she's going to be in the series, there were a few little things thrown in that allowed us to think that maybe she was going to appear.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see them?
No.
That the monastery, for one.
It's from the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Where she hung out, right? The fact that Wolf himself is in it is kind of tied.
He lost his eye to her.
Right.
Which, by the way, they made that look. I feel like they made that look way gnarly than it did the last time I've seen that.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
He does. He looks really good. Like,
he's probably the best looking model in the entire show.
Like, I don't know why he looks so much gnarlier than he did, but it looks really good.
Yeah, it was so good. It was great to see Rex and Hauser and Greer.
So this episode, so they go and basically they capture this one infiltrator, and they remove his tooth. Is what they did. The false tooth that had the electric suicide pill, essentially. Yeah. And what's funny is he doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to cooperate at all. They get the Bad Batch in, they get that more information from them. The Howitzer is so mad at seeing Crosshair, and that's such a good.
I love
great,
that.
God's great. He does not trust him at all. And then that infiltrator clone just looks up and sees Crosshair and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna disturb some stuff now." And I love that they kind of leaned into like really screwing him, making him like treated like completely like an outcast by doing that. And then this other infiltrator, the backup. Now, the running theories on who this is. Tech
Mm.
is one of the running theories. I will die on a hill. That it is not. It's just to throw you off.
The least likely.
The other one, which is actually quite likely people have brought up, and it's fair, is Commander Cody.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. It would also be funny if it wasn't anyone.
Yes, and that's what it has been since fucking Ray. It's been no one.
No. Hey, as I was just gonna say, as our last, what was the last character we just? He's screaming. What was the last character we just speculated on? Who could this character be and everything? The brother in Ahsoka, who ended up being green Dathomirian dust inside the armor.
Yes. Every time the internet goes nuts about who this is, it ends up being no one. It ends up being nothing. It's nobody.
It could be dust.
Maybe Luke. Okay, Luke. Luke from see, what is that, season 2 or season 3? From Mandalorian, when he shows up at the end and grabs Grogu. That might be the only time that they had a sense something was happening and it actually ended up being a moment. But other than that, it has been no one, and it's always going to be no one. It's not. I don't think it's going to be anybody. But I did put on here. I think they want us to think it's our boy. That's what I wrote down here. I think they want us to think it's Tech. Like that's what I wrote down.
Well, they think it's Tech. Is that what
I will unsubscribe from Disney.
I think Disney wants us to think it's Tech, and then if they're going to do a swerve, like that's what it is. They'll make you think it's Tech, and then it ends up being like Cody or ends up being no one.
If it is Tech, I will unsubscribe from Disney Plus.
You will not. You will be like the rest of us because I have threatened to unsubscribe
I will
100 times and never have.
Because that's fan service to like new fans. Cody's fan service to old fans.
I hope they killed Cody off screen.
He had a vibro blade, which Cody used.
Do people know who Cody is though without his armor? Honestly, is anybody gonna know unless they say, "Oh, Cody"? Like somebody says it out loud. Are they gonna know who is the fans?
It's gonna be
He's gonna hold his hand out.
Darker hair.
And he's gonna hold his hand out, and Palpatine's gonna be there. The hologram of Palpatine.
No, it's funny. But I guess it was definitely, the episode was probably more about like setting up the next one more or less than anything. But I also like the fact that we're learning that they don't know what M counts is, and they don't know what why they need Omega, and that's kind of their idea, is trying to figure out why. And I wonder how it's going to be revealed to us what that is per se.
Like Ventress is going to tell. I wrote it down after this episode. Ventress is going to tell them what it is.
It means macho score. That's what that means, because it better not mean the other thing. But I know it's going to happen because we've already wrote that story and we've already living in the hell that is clones of the Emperor. I wrote down just random stuff while I was watching. I heard multiple Wilhelm screams. I thought that was hilarious that they were using that.
Oh, yeah.
They had multiple of those. And I said, in a situation where you're trying to be sneaky, although it is awesome, and if they ever sell it, I'm going to have to get Voodoo or Casper to buy it for me. The glow helmet doesn't make sense in any situation, because when it's dark, you can see that giant glowed up helmet that they use. And I'm like, there's no way you could use that in any situation. You become the biggest target in the world, as I can see where your helmet is from 300 yards away as it glows. Although it looks cool. And then I wrote down again, what is the armor for? Because they just kept dying, even though they kept having armor on, and it made no sense to me.
But yes. I think we just transition to the next episode, because
I was gonna say, like, okay, so just a quick rundown. Sorry to interrupt. Just a quick rundown. So they got separated after they escaped. Obviously, they were trying to find a way to make money to get to where they catch up with everyone else. That was what the episode 4 was. Episode 5 was them trying to find the data pad that she took in the escape, trying to find what was on it to see why they won her. Episode 6 was about meeting up with the old clones and meeting up with people that can just help them along the way. Other people setting up, feelers out there, what senators or whoever else might be available for them. And anyway, so that's where we are now. So episode 7.
Yep, the fallout of the previous episode and them trying to escape.
Wait.
Yep.
We have finished 6? Have we finished 6?
No, hold on a second though. Cutie Kit, I have a room full of toys. I will never underestimate the importance of looking cool and selling toys because unfortunately, I have a whole room full of them. So immediately, like I just said, I would buy the toy and the helmet if it's ever available.
Hopefully it
What else
might,
did you have about 6?
Okay, Kachon's got something for us on 6.
I'm just reading a couple of things I wrote down, random
Yes,
stuff.
please.
I thought at first I called him a shadow clone, and then I thought he's a clone inquisitor, killing clones, and then I was kind of weirded out by Omega chewing on that toothpick.
I don't
She
remember
was-
chewing on a toothpick.
Like Crosshair. Crosshair uses the toothpick, right? You remember that?
I do remember his toothpick. I totally don't remember her doing that though.
She
That's
was
weird.
sitting there like with a little weird side eye, just silent, and she's sucking on a toothpick. Yeah.
I didn't remember that. That's hilarious.
I thought that was kind of weird but neat. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
No worries. Please interrupt. But yes, the next episode that was them trying to get out, and who shows up to help with the mission of capturing them, and which is interesting because they're like, so when they arrive, it's Wolf and a bunch of clones and a couple of TK troopers as well. And I really like that Wolf was like, oh, walking around, and he isn't he wasn't like, you know, almost what's that word? He wasn't like brainwashed, I guess you could say. Like he wasn't. He's affected. He sees the clones. Like, why are there clones here? And he goes, oh, they're things. He goes, that's super strange. He finds the other guy, the infiltrator, and he's giving him like heavy shit. And it's like, no, we're here to collect. We're not here to do any of this killing. Just sit your blasters to stun and all that. But the guy keeps using blasts. He's like, I'm gonna deal with him now. He's on AWOL. We're gonna get rid of the infiltrator. But Wolf looks great. I want to confirm something here. Wolf he lost his eye from Ventress, and it's his right eye, and he has a big scar there, and it's whited out.
Yeah.
Is it the top right of the head or the left side that has the chip?
Oh,
I don't remember that.
that's a deep cut.
Because I wonder, per se, if his chip might have got, you know, not be as cooperative like how
Yeah, I feel like they're not really. They put themselves in a bad corner when it comes to this chip thing, right? Because for this story to continue, they have to have clones who are willing just to ignore their chip and the whole chip thing. You know, originally in some of the books and stuff, it wasn't a chip; it was just their programming, their training that they always knew they were going to turn on the Jedi. But then the Clone Wars and some other things made him so popular that I feel like they kind of turned course and they did this chip thing. And to me, it's weird though, because if you can fight the chip programming, then why didn't more of them fight the chip programming? So like it's a weird situation they put themselves in, kind of, to me.
It is the right side. It is the right side of the head. It's the same side he has his scar on. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's weird that they kind of do it but don't.
Yeah.
And like the ones who obviously it looks like they give easy excuses for the ones that don't, right? Like Crosshair, his whole side of his head was scarred from that fire too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know, but it's probably on the same side that Crosshair's fire because they show that a lot. They show, and it's weird that they show it a lot because it's extra drawing. You know what I mean? Just to be like, it's extra work to put all that scarring in, and they're always on that scar on that side of his head.
It's always that side they show. That's his coin side.
Yeah, that's his.
But the whole escape and everything, you know, it's pretty good. I think that's probably the best episode of the season in my mind.
Can I ask you a question? When he lets them walk, right? How do you not get on the ship with them? Because there's no way you're going back and that's not getting out. That you allowed the most wanted person in the universe, the galaxy, to walk.
That's what I wonder. Is that this mission? So what I wonder is, what's it called? That's the one that I was wondering at the end of the episode what's going to happen. Wolf's going to go with them. And I was really surprised that Wolf didn't just like, the clones and Wolf didn't turn. And you notice by the end of the episode too, all the TK troopers that were there are dead. It's only clones that are left. The one commando and the regulars, which they all seem to abide by. Like when he says, like, "Well, why'd you leave? Why'd you let them go, sir?" It's like they're clones. They're traitors. We owe them that. They're clones. We owe them that. All the other clones kind of react. Like they lower the weapons. They look at each other for a second, and they kind of look down to the ground, like thinking about it. So I don't know if per se these clones will turn on Wolf, and but I think the commando might, and that might lead to Wolf getting imprisoned too. You know,
what?
I wonder if we have. I wonder if Wolf will. If we'll see Wolf get out and join up with Rex and Gregor, because Gregor was there. He was in that ship in the behind in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder if they're going to say, which would answer some of the complaints I have about the chips. Not that Disney cares about my complaints, but just saying, is that they find out and you kind of see that they're already trying to get rid of them, and they find out the longer after the initial jolt with the chip, the longer they're alive afterwards, the less influence they can have on them. So it starts to get less and less and less. And that could also speed up the excuse to get rid of all of them and get rid of all the clones because they can't trust them anymore.
That would make a lot of sense, yeah.
And then that would answer some of the chip questions I have, like how can some of them just say, I'm not gonna listen to it anymore, and some of them like, I'm a good soldier, and like runs off the mountaintop or something. Like there has to be like a reason for it.
I found it interesting that there's like it's kind of seamless between ranks with clones and stormtroopers. Like the commando is in charge of the stormtrooper as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so on to the next episode, I think.
Yeah, to the
wait. So they fall down that chute, right? He fell like 100 feet and caught himself. How the hell is that?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to bring up that sequence with Crosshair shooting, and he's like, "I can't make the shot." He just throws the thing instead, just blows him out. Right. I'm like, "Oh, that's nice."
Right. And Crosshair had that MVP pilot shot.
Yeah,
he shot that pilot. That was pretty good.
Oh god,
taking down there.
Yeah, no, he survives that fall in the one little hand.
Oh, there was
the credits at the end. I looked at the credits, and those assassins were CX1 and CX2.
CX.
Oh wow!
CX. You know what's funny about that? The CX, the commando battle droids, the assassin ones, the really fast kind of jump around ones, they're BX. That's their designation. The X is assassin, then I guess, or like infiltrator. I get more or less.
I wanted to look through the credits just to see if they were.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I didn't think about looking. I usually look through the credits too when there's something like that. That's a good idea.
But I did score that the highest so far.
Yeah, same here. I wonder what your score is going to be after we read this. My scores look interesting. But for the last episode, the one that came out yesterday, Bad Territory. I was like, oh, I wonder who they're going to run into. It's going to be Ventress. And then I was like, oh, a bounty hunter. And I go, okay, I know who it's going to be. And then it's Fennec Shand, which is fun.
I will say this before we get into my complete and utter disappointment in being her and the way they did her in this episode. It was obnoxious. But I will say this is there was one point where when we talk about do they have superpowers anymore, right? So when we first met Crosshair, he was a sniper that could shoot remember that? He used to take these little bitty metal hockey puck looking things and he would throw them everywhere. And he could take out 60 people with one shot while running backwards. It was amazing. And then when he's trying to explain to her how to be a sniper, what it takes, it's just like he get a lot of practice, made him a decent shot. And I want to be like, no, that's why you're Crosshair. It's not from a decent shot. It's because genetically you could run the opposite way, fire over your head, bounce off a satellite and kill the guy 100 yards away. It is not from practice. It is not from like, it's what it takes to be a sniper. No, it is like they totally are disregarding that they had these like basically superpowers and they're just like regular dudes now that just are really good at fighting.
Omega's gonna snipe a guy a mile away out of a ship.
So anyway,
So
So
Fee appears, right? Fee appears. Well, I don't know why
Yes.
she's really in it. Why is she there?
They paid what's her name?
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes contract, and she has to show up for another episode.
It annoys me every time she's in this because I happen to like Wanda Sykes, and her voice of a 60-year-old woman does not match the 20-year-old pirate that's on the screen, and it takes me out every time. She's like, sounds like a 60-year-old woman. I'm like, why is she the voice of her?
So happy it was just for that hologram, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And she had gone off to go find some information, right?
Yeah. Also, it's funny too. Like when did was it on? I can't remember. Here's the thing. I don't remember at what points did everyone know that Tech died, because obviously she had a thing for Tech. And did they tell her back in the season 2 ending? What happened?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, she was sad.
She's just like, doesn't seem sad at all.
I don't remember exactly how she responded, but she did know. Like, she did Blue Eyes or whatever she called him. She did know that he's dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, she moved on. She's a pirate, baby. You know, you loot and run, son. She ain't got time to get caught up with them boys.
But yeah, so then they find the bounty hunter, and it's Fennec, who
I was so
in a bar, of course.
The bar.
I know that Ka-Chung set up in his seat real high when he saw her, but I was annoyed by this whole situation.
Exclamation mark in my notes.
Here's the thing.
Oh, the music all around is really good, I think, in this season. But that music when she's flying her ship, the scene after they meet her, that's that same music that's in when we see her earlier in the seasons. But also, remember, we talked about her looking like
I know your music, the Zam whistle,
and that sound. It's the sound, or it's the music, or something in Clone Wars. Go back and listen to those sounds.
He's still on this. He's still on this Sam Whistle conspiracy.
So funny.
Here's what I would say. I was disappointed, and it was from the opposite way usually. Because she's a badass who is Boba Fett should be. She shoots first, kills later, doesn't have any problem with anything. And this one, she was like, well, he's kind of a slippery guy, so I'm going to use you. And I just didn't like the way they did her character, because I don't feel like she would have been like all slippery and let me use you guys. She didn't need to. She kills by the hundreds. She didn't. I just thought it was a weird way. Like, I feel like that scene was written for someone else. And then they were like, "Oh, she's really popular, so let's just put her in this." Like, it didn't quite make sense to me.
Because she would have got him already.
Yeah, she would have murdered him. Sure, no, she needed him alive. But I'm just saying, she doesn't need them. She doesn't need nobody's help.
There's 3 moments on the episode that come to mind that are just funny in hindsight. But I'll say them as we go. I like the pit droid bartender that was floating around.
Yeah, busting people with the whiskey bottle. That guy was awesome. I knew you'd like that though. You little weird droid obsession you have.
Of course,
he was a droid in a past life.
Yeah, it has to be new toy for me. So the she gets that buys a thing skiff. As soon as she buys that skiff, and I'm staring at it, going, "That's an interesting vehicle." And the door's open. That was a gorgeous shot though. When the door's open, the sun coming in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then I'm like, oh, they're in Louisiana. They're Florida. Yeah. They're in the bayou or the.
Can I ask a question though? This is always. I know you got to have it for like storytelling and stuff. I get that, but all these sci-fi shows where you have the ability to go across planets, why do they do that? Why do they land somewhere and they get like a hovercraft or they get a jet ski and they go off into the swamp, get it back in your ship, go up, go over, go down. Okay. Like, you don't need to get in a skiff and start canoeing your way down the river going to the spot.
Down the river. So my funny moment was like, she goes, oh, go in the water because the water's gonna have whatever's in it, right? But she goes, all right, so you're the demolition guy and you're a tracker. Go to the front of the boat and keep an eye out. And it's like he's just staring out like this. And eventually it's like eye shot. Within eye shot, he's like, hey, stop the boat.
Right. There it is.
He did not sense the gators at all. He didn't sense them coming.
No. He can sense that the water is different which you could do in a swamp, by the way, because the swamp doesn't move. So when you go through it, you're going to tell the green slimy crap has been moved out of the way. That's just some swamping 101. You don't need super sense to know that.
I was losing it though. It's like, there's bombs underneath the water. It's like, we can go around. No, he'll expect us to go around. We should go through. Okay, go under the water, which they can't. The helmets don't have like a rebreather in it, but Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have these little like pocket canisters. They can just do this, right? And helmets to a city under the water with little canisters. Their helmets do not have built in, so they go under the water. They get some algae. They get some algae on them for 2 seconds. They go. Oh, some wires. They cut the wire. They come up, and she's like, "Are you done yet?" And then they look at her like, "No, there's a lot." and then she's like, "Get back to work."
Put the helmets on to breathe the air.
Yeah,
and then they go back under.
Breathe under the water.
And they go back under, and then it's like, we'll split up. It's like, oh, I guess the demolition expert is useless because Hunter also.
Yeah, because Hunter can also do it too. Yeah, he makes a good point. When they get off the ship, what's the first thing she say? Helmets on, boys. You guys can't breathe the air. Cool. That means it's airtight. Yeah. But when you go underwater, they're like, oh, wait, I got to come back up for air. Like,
yeah. You're right. Oh, my God. That is brilliant. That is so stupid. Not watertight. It's airtight. So that's okay. But
No, we found out that Wrecker is a crocodile wrestler.
Yeah. So he's yours. He's part your.
Yeah,
so you called him a gator, but I thought they were crocodiles. But
they were definitely not gators because they were some kind of super. So just know that in Star Wars world, all these guys can't handle Florida, and most of us can't handle Florida, but they can't handle Florida. They were terrified of the swamp and a few gators. They said, even though they were probably crocs, but there were a few gators, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is worse than everything. I can't possibly."
Yeah. So Hunter doesn't realize they're in the water. It's like, no, great. So he gets back on the ship, back in the little skiff, gets yanked in, and then Wrecker just goes to on him. I'm gonna go WWE and just suplex them into each other.
Sith Lord Florida Man, indeed. A few things about that is, so you wanted to be sneaky, so you went through the bombed out swamp world, but they shot their guns like they had unlimited ammo. And they fought very loudly and had a skiff that was pretty loud. So like he definitely knew you were coming. Okay. He definitely knew. What was the point of all that?
They get there and he's hiding inside. So if you went around, it wouldn't have made a difference.
It would have made a difference. He'd be hiding in the same spot. By the way, I liked his character though. His character was pretty cool. That was kind of a cool.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And I like that. Yeah. She snuck over and cut his boat out before he could, but somehow misses entire shots of the, boom, 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 through the air of the stun.
But it did take 4 or 5 stuns.
Yeah, they had to stun the hell out of him. Yeah. They had a machine gun stun him to get him down.
Does the activating the okay, it doesn't. Do you think activating the stun on a blaster makes it way harder to aim? But then I think about it when in the first season when they have the stun on for the clones, they go boop, 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 and they hit every single clone in a room.
No, they can take out like 20 clones with those stuns. Those things are more accurate, it seems like, than the regular gun. So he's just quick.
So yes, they have the
No, go ahead.
They just had the little fight with the praying mantis, and yeah.
He was a badass, though. He was pretty
also,
cool.
Throw him over your shoulder and knocked unconscious. I thought they had they were gonna grab like 10 handcuffs to handcuff every limb or something. I didn't know they would just throw him over his shoulder like one of the alligators or crocodiles. Whatever.
And here's the thing. Obviously, we're talking about a cartoon, so we don't take it too seriously. But here's the thing. You thought they obviously were surprised that the first shot that didn't stun him, right? They were like, oh, and they kept shooting him. How do you know that if it took 7 shots of stunning to knock him out, then when you throw him over the shoulder, he's gonna stay knocked out for a while? How can you possibly know that? Like, they're just like, he'll be out for hours. Let's go. And it's like, well, it takes normal one person, and it took him 7 shots.
What happens? What happens if you just have him unconscious and you just casually just shoot him stunned every so often? What happens to that?
Just randomly just put him down and stun him.
How many stuns before you die? How many stuns while you're unconscious before your brains get scrambled and you die in a coma?
It's like what was that Will Smith thing where it's like, look at the light. It's you lose a little bit of memory every time you get stunned with that stuff. So you don't
have a taser. You have a gun in it versus a taser. I'm sure enough taser shots will get you.
So the other thing in this episode was this is when I was rolling my eyes, but it ended up not being that bad.
Oh,
with the She was showing our friend Crosshair how he can get mentally. They try to fix his hand. Oh, he like refused help. He turns around and goes, "Hey, get him to get somebody to look at his hand." Not a chance.
Right.
1 second later, the robot is scanning his hand, and he was like, "Yeah, it seems like it's in your head. It doesn't seem like it's physical." Well, that didn't take much convincing.
See her asking him.
No, he just like, "Yeah, sure."
They had to spend more time with the pit droids. Sorry.
And I did appreciate, although it was very kind of cringy and corny, I did appreciate, at least it makes sense now, while her friend, the Wookiee, taught her how to, be in Zen mode. At least it makes sense, because now you brought it back, and it was, and it was they had that kind of cool moment.
She has a high M count, it makes sense.
And it was kind of a cool moment when he said, "Wait a minute, you've been on Kashyyyk?" And she goes, "Yeah, we've been a lot of places. You miss a lot." And that was actually a cool moment, because it was like, he realized that he did kind of miss a lot, and they've had a lot of adventures without him per se. So that was kind of
grounded
cool.
him for sure.
And the first thing made me laugh that she said was, "You don't like anything."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, no, that's right."
Yeah, that's fair. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. I also like, yes, it's Omega's yoga class.
Yeah,
yoga on the rocks.
She's gonna do what is it, like hot yoga? She has a hot yoga class that she's gonna be teaching every Thursday. You just gotta sign up for it.
She actually appropriated the Wookiee culture and the yoga. They stole it from him, and she's pioneering her own.
She'll be canceled
someday in the future.
All right, I think that's it. That's all the episodes.
And at the very end, what are your guesses? Who is she talking to?
Oh, well, at the very end, sorry. She's like, "Yeah,
oh, that's kind of important. Sorry.
Right I can get it to you at some point." And I'm like, "Oh, you sneaky." So is like, you can get to her. And then she leaves, and I'm on my mind, I'm like, "Oh, no, she's just going to sell them out." And technically, yes, obviously Asajj, and she's going to show up to their little stronghold, and obviously something's going to go down there.
Yeah, so this episode was about them trying to figure out what the M count thing was, pretty much. Then they said, they got some word back that this particular bounty hunter was. When they found her, she said, "I don't know anything about it, but I know somebody who would." Obviously, that was somebody who needs to know what it is, so clearly that's probably going to be Asajj's interest.
Also reminds us that this is technically a filler episode.
So yes, that was important. Here's the thing. I had allowed myself to forget this whole Ventress nonsense that's happening, because I love that character, and I think the story was told, and I hate that they're about to do something. I don't know. Well,
you're hoping it's the best episode when she shows up.
Are they gonna meet her in a bar?
She's gonna be on the beach. She's gonna be on she's gonna be on the nice retreat planet, and it's gonna get attacked because she's there. And
I just wonder how much are they about to just get rid of lore because they want to use Ventress. Like, when they could have used almost anyone else.
Sorry, here's my follow-up question. Do you think if she shows up in the next episode, she'll only show up for one episode?
No,
because the next episode is a single episode. It's not like not like they're releasing 2 episodes at once.
I think if they're going to do it this early on, she'll be like borderline a part of the crew, trying to figure out what's going on. Because if they're gonna do it this early on, they're gonna be referencing her a lot more, I think.
Because so this episode's a single episode, and then
it's cold.
I don't know. I'm looking at the number here, but then the following one. So next week it will be a single episode, and the week after it will be 2 episodes.
Ooh.
So
I don't think they're going to introduce her next week, though. I don't think they're going to introduce her next week. I don't think so.
I think at the end.
I think they're going to have another filler episode and then probably tease it again.
Yeah, you know what? That's more accurate.
And then maybe the one after that, they'll do it then. If they can push it back a little bit farther, but you're going to have to do some explain to me this whole nonsense right now. Unless you tell me that she's actually a clone of Ventress, and she was the one that the first attempt they did.
Wouldn't that? Not only are you the female clone of Jango Fett, they're the smartest of everyone. You know everything. You know how to do this. You're lovely. You're perfect. But we splice together Jedi, dark side acolyte, genes into Django's DNA with Ventress.
Oh my god!
Then Omega comes out and wields 2 lightsabers.
Don't forget though, you have to have a scene of her.
One yellow and one.
You have to have a scene of her using a knife to a blade to shave her head though. We have to have that scene too.
Oh, and then Omega will have a purple lightsaber because her purple bow, and she'll take the show away from Mace Windu. And no,
never.
Oh my god.
Hashtag not my Mace. Never. They'll take that from him. I think that's okay.
Buttons.
So, do we have anything else this week, or are we just doing?
Well, 2 things. One,
you have news or
June,
anything?
you got scores for these episodes?
I do.
I do as well. It looks like we have one person who does not have scores.
Oh, I'll make them up right now and swear to God I had them the whole time.
Did we say the scores for the other episodes?
We didn't say for episodes 4 through 8. We didn't give the scores.
All right, it's episode 4. What do you got, Kachung? What's the score you got on there?
I had 6.6. Bit boring, I wrote.
The lowest scored episode and bit boring was 6.5.
That's what you have,
right?
That's what you said.
He said 6.6.
So 6.
So what did you have?
5.
You had a 5. I believe I wrote down. Hold on, I wrote down 6.1
on the back of my napkin.
Yeah, I wrote down a 6.1.
He's trying to find the middle between us. Episode, the next one.
And then 5 was, I said it was good, as not as much as episode 3, because 3 I gave 7.6. I gave it a 7.2. So I guess it was kind of the better of the ones up until then.
All right. Yeah. What did you give it, Canadian?
6 out of 10. It was better for sure. There was definitely issues, but it was much better.
I believe. Let me look. 6.7 is what I have on mine. 6.7.
He's got the calculator out right now. Fine.
6.7 is what I wrote down on my list here.
All right. Now we get into the better stuff.
All right.
Well, I put 7. I actually went down.
Controversy.
7?
For 6.
Episode 6, the infiltration was a 7. You said, right?
Yeah, I gave it a 7. It was, as you said earlier, it was kind of like a lead up to the next one, so it kind of felt like it was missing something.
I agree with you.
Maybe if it was a full episode with, a full kind of mini story, it would have got
its own resolution.
Right.
What do you have, Canadian?
I gave it a 7 as well.
That's weird because I also gave it a 7. That's 3 7s.
Wow.
We were all really right there on that one.
I'm really curious for the next 2. What your thoughts are on this?
Well, because then the next one I gave an 8.2.
Good Lord.
What's the point to? Why where did the point to?
That is a weird point too. Where did that come from?
I always score at 100. I never score at a 10.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
That's
all right. What do you have?
I'm a simple man. I go out of 10, and I gave it an 8 actually.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I think. Oh, sorry. Let me look. I would say 7.7 is about what I would say on that one. 7.7.
Not 8.1.
No, 7.7.
7.7.
7.9.
Now, what do you give the most recent episode, Bad Territory?
So I put 6.8, and then I crossed it out and put 7 because Fennec was in it.
Jesus Christ.
She gets 2.2 points.
Now we know, writers of Disney, how much the value that she has is a 0.2 on all scoreboards.
Right.
All right, what did you give it, Casper?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Oh, we have an ad break. I'll just say it now because we don't care about this ad break. Yeah, I would have said 6.5. So far, I'm enjoying Bad Batch more probably this season than the last probably couple. To be honest with you, I haven't been rolling my eyes or throwing anything at the screen, so that is good.